Okay.
You are watching the Pan African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.
Okay. Greetings. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit cold, but we're live in the studio on Pan African Daily today with Amos Onyango. I want to see you log in here, join this conversation, because the youths are saying, it's not worth traveling to the West anymore. We go for business. We don't go because we're fleeing Africa, because the opportunities that we have here are enormous. Okay, wait, let me just kind of like switch my volume off. Mhm. So, in studio with us here, we have Amos Onyango, the CEO and founder of Loic Afrique. All of you know Amos is the voice of the young people out there. He's inspired a lot of people. I don't want to give his biography while you guys are still connected. I'll have to wait until you are connected so we can get on with the conversation. Today, we want to know about these perspectives of the youth for economic empowerment, because we've been talking about political empowerment. Amos is also one of the political activists. As you know, he was the leader of the Gen Z, movement, or the Gen Z protests in Kenya. And we saw how active Amos was. But apart from that, Amos is a multitasking, as we know. But apart from that, if you ask the community Africans and say, who is Amos? Everybody's going to tell you that is Professor Pierre Os Lumumba's son. Okay, that we know, and we are never going to take it away from Professor Pierre. That is the first son of Professor Pierre Lumumba. And so today we'll be talking about economic emancipation, being a son that is raised in the political arena of a great speaker and a Pan-Africanist. How does Amos see the world from an economic point of view? And what is it that you young people should pay attention to when we're talking about the liberation of Africa? We have political liberation, we have mindset liberation, we have economic liberation, we have cultural liberation, we have nearly every kind of liberations that you can talk about. So, but tonight, want to do a combination of all, because there's no way we can talk about economic liberation without freeing our minds, without empowering ourselves to understand that, you have to first of all be conscious on your potentials, on the opportunities on the continent, on actually being an African, and what is it that you as an African youth or a leader can do in today's world to push the narratives and to put Africa on the global platform. So Amos is that one kind of a famous youth leader, activist, a founder, a host, who says, I want to put Dress Africa up in its real ropes. I want to use cotton designers to dress Africa. Me, I'm dressing Africa with the narratives, like, changing the whole story of Africa by Africans, and also through culture and every other thing, and giving voices. But Amos is also particularly that. But I'm quite really interested in his economic perspective. I mean, he's in collaboration with Usman Touré. When I met Usman Touré told me the same thing. Dr. Susan Tatah, we listen to all the lectures from our elders. Don't get us wrong. But while we're listening, we are running with the economic liberation, for the economic liberation of Africa. So you see the young Usman Touré, today he's in Dubai, tomorrow he's in Canada. The same thing with Emma. So there's two young Africans, one from West Africa, the other one from East Africa. I know there's still a lot of girls also that are coming up. Okay, when we talk about our youth, I mean, we're talking about a combination of all this. They are still going to come up to champion this cause. But I think thank you guys. It's 5 minutes into the conversation, into the introduction. Amos is right here in studio with us. Amos, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, my sister Susan. Thank you for having me. How are you kicking on?
Wonderful. As you can see, we are all looking good. We are all looking smart. We are all looking active. We are back to work on Pan African Daily TV. I was so impressed, Amos. I followed you, even though we were actually not active, but I was on the continent and I follow a lot of seminars, trainings, and a speaker that you were invited to some of very important conferences on and meetings, particularly with women and stuff like that. I also caught you on my spotlight camera when you actually was like giving talks and workshops, in South Africa, or organizing the massive event that I saw took place. I think that was in Kenya or whatever. So what is it that you've been doing around?
Thank you very much, my sister. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to pass my greetings to all Africans who are joining from wherever they are, those in diaspora, those in Africa, and even friends of Africa. It's a pleasure to have you join this show. This is one of the best Pan-African show, and I'm really happy that Dr. Susan here is having me. So back to your question, I've been up and down, trying to work together in collaborations with the other young Africans. There are so many young Africans actually doing a lot, even more than what I'm doing. The only difference is that some of them have not gotten such spotlight, which I think you are doing to bring all young Africans together. But other than that, I'm grateful that we have been up to different events going on in Kenya, out of Kenya, in the continent, and also in diaspora. And this coming November, will be in South Africa. Our organization was one of the organizations that has been nominated to receive an awards in fashion. As you know, I'm a social entrepreneur. I love supporting the community. So far, what we have done in Lawi Africa Foundation, we have mentored 210 young people with skills. And these are skills that will help them in years to come, because once you acquire skill, then it helps you to even help others. Some of them are working in companies, some of them are doing design work, some of them have started their business. And basically, that's what I've been doing. I've also been writing, as you know. I'm an author of 6 books. I've also contributed in editing books. So the new book that I've edited, if you can see, is here. And this book is called Fathers of Pan-Africanism, I think. And it was printed in the US by an African. I took part in writing it. If you want a copy, you can reach out to me. I hope my name is, you'll be able to see it there.
Mm,
It's just there.
Amos
Yeah.
Onyango. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I took part in writing it. This is the back. So this is the reason of my contribution on the books that I've been writing. I'm also writing more. I'm passionate about Africa. I mean, Africa is everything. And what I'm doing now is to work jointly with other young people. Currently, I'm working with a young Ghanaian. I'm also working with another lady from Sierra Leone. I'm working also with another one from Rwanda. So there are so many young people, Dr. Susan, and even Africans who are listening, that are doing amazing work, that if they get platform to work together, to get a platform like this to just share some of the things that they are doing, then I think we are in the path to a good path that our forefathers were preaching for us to have. So I'm really happy that this is bringing progress, despite the hiccups that we have in Africa. But I still believe that there are good things that are still happening, that we need to energize some of these things, and we need to encourage ourselves to continue doing that is good for the continent.
Perfect. I mean, when you look at the political liberation of Africa. I mean, you're one of them. I mean, we look at this situation in Kenya today as a Kenyan. Um, of course, we know without political reforms that actually promote innovation and business, global business or local business, how we call it, it is practically impossible. But regardless of that, you are both. What would you say is the difference? Like, you're fighting politics on this side to make good reforms, and then you are also moving ahead to say, I cannot just be only on the fight. Is a tie.
Thank you very much, my sister. I think what we really lack as a continent is that we need to have a unity. That's what we have been preaching all along. We need to have unity over division. In what's happening now is that we are promoting. If we are supposed to promote ourselves, then why do we continue to have these barriers that we have to bribe people for us to get visa? And this is some of the things that are really making trade to be very difficult. Today I was speaking with a very young lady from is from Congo but is in Canada, and she's coming to Zambia, and the process of her passing through Kenya is just she has to get a visa, a transit visa, for her uh, to be in Zambia, and she's going to do business there that is going to uplift the community in Zambia and also in Africa, to say. So these barriers are what are making our our social political economy go down, because it's making things difficult for even upcoming and rising young entrepreneurs to thrive in terms of getting access to work together and even to trade with other countries. So one thing that we need to do, we need to stop this unity of division. We have to come together and support one another. How is it, Dr. Susan, that you are in Europe and you have never paid for bribe to get your visa, or you have never paid for a bribe to get your passport? Why is it happening in Africa? If we love one another, why must I bribe you for you to give me a visa? Why must I bribe you for me to get an access to passport? So these are the simple things. They look simple, but these are the things that are taking us back as Africans. If we can change that system in our all African governments, then I think we can make step. There is one difference between saying and doing. We can say we do it, but there is another part of it that is doing. So we have to start walking the talk of doing it. I understand that there are some countries that are making that effort, but there's still bribery in terms of the immigration officers. There is bribery in terms of when it comes to border clearance. There is a lot of bureaucracy that if you don't pay some certain amount, then your product will end up having will not cross to the next border. If you don't know anybody, then your products can't go to the next country. These are some of the things that I'm requesting fellow Africans today, that we need to fix these systems, because they are making our trade issues, they're creating barriers to our trade, in that even in the next generation, people to come, it will be very difficult for us to even do trading. How is it that if you want to sell something to another country, you have to file a lot of papers as if you are studying for PhD? This should stop. How is it that if you want to for example, if you, my sister there, want to travel, for example, to Kenya, you must have visa, you must pay for it. Not just having it, you have to pay it. Sometimes the official fee is there, but when you are reaching to the airport, you still have to bribe people. This issue of bribery has to stop. If we love one another as Africans, then we need to come together and say, no, you are my sister, I am your sister. I can help you without you paying a single cent. But the problem in Africa that we have is that some of our people working in these immigration offices, or even in the offices, they have what we call systemic corruption, where there is bribery from the top official to the last. So this thing is growing in us to the extent that they are loving it, and money is becoming more sweeter than even the welfare of the people. So if we want to have a good trade, then we must start by us coming together, us loving one another. That when my brother from Ghana wants to come and sell some of his fabrics in Kenya, there is easy way for him to come. There is no feeling of tax. You have to pay a lot of money in the border. There is no bureaucracy when it comes to clearance. So those are, they seem simple, but those are the things that will make us grow as Africa. This is not in Europe. This is not in China. That's why you see China is thriving. That's why you see Europe, things are working, because systems are working. You don't need to know somebody for your stuff to get cleared. You just follow the due process, pay the fee that is there, and then things move on. But in Africa, you pay double taxation. You even have to sweet talk some people. If you're against the system, then your business certificate will be pulled away. So we need to have love for us to do a fair trade. These are some of the things that Africa is really lacking for us to move ahead.
I totally agree with you, Amos. I totally agree with you because I know it. It's hands-on, like, regardless of what the narratives that we're pushing out here, some of the problems, the basic problems, particularly trying to hinder trade or progress in Africa, is within Africa. It's within
That's
Africa.
true.
And this issue of corruption and bribery, I don't know for how much a century we would have to go to curate this, isn't it?
It is true. I've witnessed this, Dr. Susan. I'm in business, and sometimes I ship different African countries. And the reason why sometimes we even don't use our shipping companies in Africa is because of the systemic corruption, that you have to pay some clearing agent somewhere for your goods to be considered. This doesn't happen with DHL. That's why you see some of the entrepreneurs, they go and support these companies like DHL, because they offer the best service. At the end of the day, the product will reach safe, even if it is expensive. Why is it that it's becoming difficult for us to have system that works like this? Another thing, when it comes to cotton, Africa has the best soil for cotton. But look at where our fabrics are coming from. I can tell you without fear or contradiction that majority of fabrics are coming from China. If not from China, they're coming from Europe and mostly from the Netherlands. If not from there, they're coming from Bangladesh. If not from there, they're coming from Turkey. And Africa has the best soil that we can have all the type of cottons that we want. But the problem is it's expensive, and even farmers are not being paid well. It's expensive, and even the quality of the fabric is not there to some of this fabric. So we need to make things work easy for us, fellow Africans. And even Dr. Susan, you have seen Africa has the capability of bringing the quality. You go to Cameroon, you go to Ghana. Look at the materials that are made there, handwoven. They're one of the top world materials. But the problem that we can't have sustainability plan for this is because of the systemic corruption within our countries. You find that some of these government, they don't want to pay farmers well. Some of them, they are given a location, but the chain is not working. Like, for example, if you are planting cotton, you find that there are people that don't value that particular farming. There are others that they give priority, like maybe coffee and all that. So they don't encourage farmers that this is also one of the important farming that we need to do. And I tell you, Africa has the best climate for cotton. Even these deserts, we can do very nice cotton planting. But the problem we have is that we are now relying so much on China. And the reason why we are relying on China is because China is affordable. I'm sorry to say this. Most fabrics that are coming, not just in Kenya here, but across Africa, they're from China. They're from these countries because they're affordable for people. People can afford them. But in our country, we are making everything expensive. The other day I was in an event where we were making policy for that is for cotton, textile and apparel. And one of the problems that manufacturers of Africa, not just Kenyans, are facing is because there is high cost of electricity. And these are the things that the government can look into so that they can subsidize the cost of electricity to make manufacturing sector thrive. But these are the conversations we don't want to talk about. Some of these top companies in Africa, they are employing millions of young people. Now, when you put such things like taxation, um, like high electricity, they have to find a way on how they can survive. And the only way they can survive is for them to put the price of their products high. And when the products are very high, it doesn't promote trade within our system because people will go for affordability, definitely. So there are these simple things that they seem simple, but we need to work on this system so that our farmers can also be able to appreciate that the value that they are giving in their farms are being appreciated.
Absolutely correct. Regardless of all these challenges, you're making it. Amos, how?
Yeah, I think I have to confess that I've really made loss more than profits in Africa. But I'm happy that I've not made loss in a bad way. Some of our investment are going to mentor young people, and they're appreciating the value of our of our apparel and clothing. Uh, Susan, money is good, but what matters is social capital, which we need to invest in amongst ourselves. If we have Africans who are supporting each Africans, like now this show, if Africans come and support these shows and they support what these shows is doing, then that is how we thrive. And that's how I've been thriving. I've been thriving in the benefit of Africans, and some of them are also not Africans, but they have seen the good work that we are doing, and they're
Mhm.
impressed because the money that we make are going to the community and they are benefiting the community. So what I can say is that social capital is what has made me to survive in this industry. This is an industry, especially when you are in Africa, and they will tell you fashion and apparel industry is one of the lucrative industry, but it's one of the most stressful industry because at the end of the day, you have to pay your designers, you have to pay your tailors, you have to pay your suppliers of materials and all that, and then you have to pay taxes from the government. So at the end of the day, you remain with nothing because government also tax young entrepreneurs a lot of money. So what I
Mhm.
can say is that it's about friendship, is about love. That is what has made me to survive in this business. But other than that, we still have challenges like we are still pushing on to get a better space because every day we are getting young people who want to learn some of these skills, but we still don't have enough space, and we still also don't have enough machinery. But other than that, don't complain. I'm very much okay. I'm proud where we have reached because it's not for where we were the past 4 years. Now we have really grown. We have new machines. We have new creative designers coming up, which are mentored through our foundation. So I'm really grateful. And what I can tell young people is that they should just be patient. Don't be driven away with quick money. It will not come, especially when you want to become a good social entrepreneur. If you want a good money, you have to wait. Invest in it, and then it will just come.
Wonderful. I've been in the industry for more than 30 years and I've never made a gain. In no way. On the contrary, you keep putting and putting and putting. I think, but one thing that you've said, just like we have the African social system of governance, is the same thing. We have the African social system of doing business with one another. And when we focus on the community and the legacy and the impact to our communities, I can guarantee you, I don't know how much amount of wealth that you can measure to that. Of course, we need the liquidity. That's what we say. But if you look at every successful entrepreneur, from the Robert Kiyosaki, from Jack Ma, I mean, like these gurus that started from nothing, which are not business people that had to get a loan and to do business, but they're entrepreneurs. Had to create something and that has impacted the whole lives of their countries and the world. And I think you're on the good road to thinking that yes, money, we need the money, and the money would come. I can guarantee you, there's just no way you can be on this journey without having money. You're making a lot of experiences. Look at the things that you're saying. Without this, you won't be somewhere. And we all do know, and it's becoming so serious once again, that jobs will never lift Africa from poverty. It is entrepreneurship. It is building a 500 fortune company, and it takes long. It takes a lot of endurance. It takes a lot of connections. It takes a lot of experiences. Like I said, I've been there for 30 years. Platforms, this and this and this. All, of course, it's my policy is always about nonprofit, but nonprofit doesn't mean that you don't have a business plan behind it.
Yeah.
So I'd really applaud you. This is the spirit that we need. If every young African would persevere and go through this process, I can guarantee you by 2030, you're one of the billionaires that we're talking about on the continent. Do you agree with me?
That is the truth. And it is happening soon. And I know we are going to create more billionaires in Africa through such. Yes.
Absolutely. Now, because yes, it is very okay. One of the sources is the issue of corruption, of bribery, and
Yes.
too much roadblocks and stuff like that we don't have in other countries. That's a fact. But if we look at the African social system too, I think a lot of education has to be done in
Yes.
how African consume African, because that's a
Yes.
very key point. There's a lot of ignorance where we put our money, what we valorize. When you talk about China, is because China valorizes its culture first, its business culture of saying we want to be the power culture in the world. You wear Nike or you wear what is made in Bangladesh somewhere, or in China or something. But if you look at even the communities that they produce those things, are impoverished communities.
Yeah.
You know, so the power culture of doing a business with strong communities is that they invested a lot. They invested a lot to be able to build a strong cultural identity for themselves.
Mhm.
And it is the
Yeah.
cultural identity that moves businesses in every country, because you don't buy from your stomach, you buy from your mind. Am I correct?
That's true. And that's why you said something that is very passion. That's very important to me. Um, uh, there are so many people that are now watching other stations across Africa, and they're watching foreigners' stations. I'm not saying it's bad, but there are those who have chosen to watch this station. That is how patriotic we should be. The same way you walk into a shop and you buy a Gucci product, the same way you should walk into a shop and buy Lawi Afrique or some Kente somewhere in Ghana, with that kind of courage, with that kind of passion, and without complaining. Because the problem we also have in Africa is that we keep on complaining, but some of these products that come from other foreign countries, some of them are not in good quality, to be say. I'm sorry to say that anyway, because I've received some of them, but you find a product has been overpriced and young people are buying it, or Africans are buying it, and yours that is very standard and affordable will always stay there. So if we don't know why we are buying something, like, we will always get it wrong. Like, for example, look at this station. I like giving example with what we are using. There are majority of people listening to this platform now, and there are those who are picking some lessons here and there are those that are picking some network that will help them build their business and even advance to the next level. That is how we need to support one another. If you understand that I'm making a product because I'm supporting some 5 young people from a village, then buying a product at 10,000 Kenya shillings should not be an issue for you.
Mm.
Because, at the end of the day, that money is going to be spent in the right way. But if you're just buying for the sake of buying, then that's why we get it wrong. So we need to start appreciating our own culture and heritage, our products. And the moment we start appreciating it and spending on them without complaining, without crying, but also I'm not saying you should not give feedback. There is authentic feedback in terms of standard. If something is not good, just give your honest opinion, because it makes us entrepreneurs to improve when it comes to the quality of the product.
Mm-hmm.
But when we criticize without taking action, we criticize without bringing solutions, we oppose everything and propose nothing at all, then at the end of the day, we are not going to make Africa better. Africa will only be better when you hold one another's hand. And this is what I'm saying. We need a lot of collaboration. We need a lot of unity. We need a lot of love, because most of the time we work separately. We are creating different things, but we don't want to come together and work jointly with one another. I think this is what is really affecting us as Africa. We just feel that now that Amos has something, it is only Amos that has it. It cannot benefit anybody. If Susan has something, it is only Susan. So that narrative is what is killing us in Africa. We need to come together and work jointly. If Amos is able to sell this product, and somebody is able to market it in Ghana, and somebody is able to deliver it somewhere, then at the end of the day, there is flow of money. And that flow of money is benefiting Africans. But if we believe that we want to do everything ourselves, is only me and is me alone, we can't do it with somebody else, then we have a long way to go. That's why you see the Chinese, the European, they work together jointly, and at the end of the day, they have franchise everywhere, and they make millions of money, and they make millions of impact in their community.
I think yes, that's it's the same thing that the Chinese are struggling to actually hold hands on that price policy, because of course the economic of scale works for them, the population, the
Yes.
industrialization, and like the unit cost of producing a fabric in China could be up to zero. You understand?
Yeah.
And then the government also puts in funding to be able to continue to push the China brand, the made in China brand. So I think this is a whole lot of things that your generation has to take care of by not giving up. Because no matter how we complain, no matter how, like you said, we do it, we have to do it for Africa.
Yes.
There's just no excuse. No matter how many times we are going to say this, there's no way. We're encouraging all the young people to create businesses. Create business. There's no amount of job that will give you wealth. No
Mm.
amount of job. Of course, because you already see, and we'll be coming back to that next topic of migration. When they take your raw materials out of the continent, they're basically taking the jobs out of the continent. And we wonder why people migrate. So if we are asking, or like you said, even the professor yesterday said it, keep the jobs on the continent, keep their raw materials and buy at a fair price. And then we
Yes.
will be able to do business with one another. So it is not only the problem of corrupt Africans inside, but it's also the international policies and regulation, how the world market treats Africa. Am I
Mm.
correct?
That's true. That's true, my sister, because even recently you see so many Africans are denied. I like the visa thing, because this thing is making Africans not to achieve their dreams. You get young Africans are coming up with creative ideas. I have two designers that have been denied visa, and these countries, their citizens are allowed to come. They have never been denied visa at all. So I don't find it very fair if a country can deny you a visa, yet you allow their citizen to come in, and on the basis of you being denied visa is something that is very petty. So we need to hold our government accountable. That it's a win-win situation. If you can't offer our people a chance to also come and do business, to come and do get to network and sell their products and even do other things, then there is also no need for us to accept your people. So it should be win-win situation, because at the end of the day, it's bilateral talk. So if it is a bilateral, it should help both parties. But if it is only helping one party, then there is a weak system in our continent that we really need to work on. And this is what I'm calling up the African Union to work on, because many jobs are being killed because of this issue of trade barriers and visas. I have so many Africans crying every day. Their money are taken. If it's not the US visa, it is the European visa and all that. So we need to work in a way that it promotes young people. And they need to know that young people are not just coming, or Africans are not just coming to stay in their country. Some of them just want to do business with other Africans. They want to do business with them also. They want to promote, because when they are coming also, they are promoting their economy in one way or the other. But when you deny such chances and then you accept, in Africa we accept them, then I think that is not fair. So we need to work on a bilateral agreement that is fair for both, so that young people are encouraged, or Africans are encouraged to invest also in diaspora, and to invest also in other countries. If this is not done, then I think we still have a very long way to realize this.
It is because of this, and really on this, that I decided, or we from the organization, the Africa We Want, decided to come up with this project. This project exactly because we have seen the dynamics of world politics, of how they deny African, like most African or European countries or America, they can fly to 97 countries in the world, but African countries, are denied visas. Not only denied visas, but they are even taking monies for the visas and not refunded back, which is also illegal. Everything just seems like illegal, illegal, illegal. But you see, that is the reason why it's really time for economic liberation, because it's getting harder and harder and harder and harder. The more the politics get harder, the knots, the tie the knots, the more also the economics get even more harder. Because laws are made to govern the economic situation of the people living. But it doesn't matter. There is still enough business and enough money in circulation. That's a clear thing. Because sometimes when we dwell only on that issue of the challenge, like that's what I told you, just stay in here, hang in here. I mean, me and you will have this conversation in 2030 here on this very platform, and you would tell us how it has come. So it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of endurance. Now on social media and digital platforms, and that's why we are actually step by step transforming Pan-African Daily TV into a virtual hub, which we can do business or trade business or sell our stuff online. At some point, the visas would actually not be any issue again. If we don't meet in Europe, we will meet on the continent. That's the fact. The diaspora has the visas to travel. But the thing is, it's always a kind of this kind of narratives about, the Africans always wanting to come and stay in our country. Gone are those days. It is for
Yeah.
It is over. It's over. Because if you look at the figures of migration on the continent of Africa, it's way more than the 0, something percent that is migrating to the south, okay, to the west. It's really getting an everyday, because Pan-African Daily, we've been empowering our youth to profit from the continent. Number two is a trick also. It's very, very tricky. Let's call it a fact. That coming, it's also come and inherit our debts, and we go and take your rich continent. So it's a whole lot of situation. We should not be saddened by that. Nothing is going to stop Africa from rising right now. Whether we get visas or we don't get visas, we're going to connect, we're going to do business together, we're going to network, we're going to build the Africa we want. Is that clear?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, my sister. And you see, the world has realized that Africa is the hotbed of opportunities. And that's why you see everybody wants to invest in Africa. If you see the Asians, they want, the Europeans want, the British, all of them wants to come to Africa. Not from our just our good climate, but also our rich natural resources that we have, even our culture and heritage. Like Africa is just so sweet for them, and that's why I'm proud to be an African. And I don't think there is any other place that I will be than being in Africa. I love our climate. I love our people. I love our culture. I just love Africa. So there is a lot in terms of opportunities in Africa, if only we can encourage one another. I know there are a lot of negativity coming in, but sometimes it's also good to appreciate the little progress that we have made since the independence of different countries. And this is something that we are not proud of. Look at the top athletes, they are from Africa. Look at the top
Sure.
doctors, they're from Africa. Look at the top agriculturists, that they are from Africa. The top people who fought for the liberation of different countries, they're in Africa.
Mhm.
So I think Africa just have everything. All we just need is to appreciate where our weakness is. We strengthen our strength and we work on our weakness until we reach somewhere. It may not happen in our time. It may happen in generation to come. But let's start planting the seeds so that one day some people will sit somewhere in a shade and appreciate indeed this thing was done well. And that's what
Absolutely.
the Chinese are doing. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, it is. It is still in everything ties with the cultural identity. When I traveled back from Africa last week, I traveled Ethiopian Airlines always show, and I met this German counterpart, elderly women who went on tour. They did a world tour in Africa, like she told me. There were two of them, but you could see the whole group of about 50 people. And so we got into conversation with one another, and we talked about Africa, and I like we're flying Ethiopian Airlines, but 80% of the flight is always Europeans traveling to Africa. And I was like, what is really interesting? What brings you to Africa? And she told me, nature, people, food, clothing, sunshine, happiness, smiles, the weather. And like she goes on and goes on and goes on and goes on and goes on. And I'll be like, of course, that's just it about Africa. Of course, Nagato. And she told me, where are you coming from? I said, I'm coming from my homeland, from Cameroon. And why are you coming back to Germany? I said, of course, just the way you love Africa. Also, I love Germany too. Both is a similar world where we benefit from each other. And she was
Yeah.
like, that's correct. And then she told me, Dr. Tata, can I just say one thing that you need to tell your people? Because I told her about our organization, our streams, our events, and stuff like that. And she said, can I advise? And if I can, I'm not an African, but I just want to advise. I said, yes, go ahead. And she said, please, if there's anything Africa would do, is to keep its identity.
Mhm.
Because we have lost it. She said it
Yeah.
very clear and clear. We have lost it. Your traditions, your beliefs, your spirituality, your natural environment, please keep it jealously for the generation and the future of the world. She didn't even say for the future of the world. And I said, thank you, ma'am. Exactly, that's what we are doing. What am I trying to say? Business from an African perspective has to do with identity.
That's true.
And why we keep on Pan African Daily talking about the need for us to Africanize and to fortify our identity is very necessary, because everything about us starts with your identity, your
Mm.
mind, the way you consume information, what you say, things you even the way you eat and the way you present yourself on the global space or anywhere has to do with the knowledge of your identity. Cultural products like what you're doing, the fabrics, of course. And one thing I wanted to say is the international team of the first African diaspora trade fair in Germany is actually going to be on cotton made in Africa,
Mm.
because the clothing industry we know is actually the most lucrative industry in the world. I mean, you can see
Say
all types
say
of brands.
the clothing in Africa is the
Yes,
most lucrative, especially
I-
our cotton.
yes. What I'm
Mm.
trying to say is, it is an industry that you will never make lose. You will never lose
That's
in that
mm.
industry. The only thing, you have seen statistics. Give ourselves 5 years behind, and today, look at how marriages are being conducted in Africa today. Look at the rise of traditional marriages and the need for consummation of local made fabrics. It is at the highest point. Why? Because people, in the short essence of time, I mean, since 2020 on Pan African Daily, we have thought about the need to be African and to
Yes.
embrace your culture and your identity. So you see, if I am already revolutionized in my head, of course, even if I'm doing any other thing, I am conscious of the fact that when some events come on, I'm going to be in this kind of fabrics. Even white weddings, you can see it. There are lots that have been, I think the percentage has gone down to everything, because Africans are embracing their spirituality. And
Mm.
so we don't have to be inferior to dress in our local fabrics, to celebrate. On the contrary, it's just blurring now. And is it true?
That's
Have you
true,
made that
and
experience?
that's true. And now that we have a trade fair coming up next year in June, I
Yes,
will propose that our theme be buy African product with an African cotton made.
yes. Buy
Uh,
buy
it
African.
should
I
be
mean,
an African made in Africa by an African with an African from an African fabric.
yes,
Yes.
of course. I'm so proud. I had made a video about your collections and all that, but it's just unfortunate that I don't know. I could not finish it, a promo video, but I promise you that next time you come on the show, we're going to do that. Because you're doing an amazing thing. I mean, trying to empower these young girls. Like, I follow you up literally, and I see the work that you're doing, the designer show. I mean, there's no place to present it more than to do it at the African Diaspora Trade Fair in Germany next year. Of course, the team is going to be fabric. If I don't make, I don't wear. That's
Mm.
that's the motto of it. And so, of course, I got this from Elder Marvin. I think he's watching me right now. And he said it. I think there's a brand in our siblings there in America. If I don't make, I don't wear. Okay. Of
Mm.
course, like Fubu from us to us, and stuff like that. So yes, if I don't make, I don't wear. It's going to be the national team in terms of cotton. We're really focusing on that, and we're going to get designers from all over present their local handmade and also fabrics and cotton made in Africa during the trade fair. That's going to be a mega a big event, a big show. We're expecting at least 5,000 in this time. I'm just saying at least 5,000 for the 4 days. But you can imagine putting Africa on the globe on the first African Diaspora Trade Fair, which is actually, we're anticipating, not anticipating, is going to be Europe's largest international trade fair. Because most often we've been to festivals of culture. Yes, we're really done with that. The identity is there. Now we have to go into trade and development, isn't it?
Yes. And I think this is going to be one on its kind, because I don't think it has ever happened in diaspora. So I'm really looking forward to it and encouraging Africans of goodwill to start preparing for this. And those who will wish to support such initiative also are welcome to reach out to Dr. Susan. I'm looking forward to be there. I hope this time round they will not deny me visa. Yes. So I'm very optimistic that I'm coming to give the best in Europe, not just to come for crying, but to give our best taste of our products in Africa, and also to show them that we also have something that they can buy from us and they can appreciate.
Mhm. Yes, I
Yes.
think it will work. It will work out. I'm very optimistic. Like, it's also a lot of processing. Visa processes take time, and most Africans actually don't know how to apply for their visas. I've done that a couple of time again. Look at your documentation, look at the requirements, look at the procedures, look at the conditions for the application. If you set up your visa a procedure, you're going to get a visa. That's sure. But that's also a service that we do from the Africa We Want network, that we actually prepare the young people or the entrepreneurs that will be attending the trade fair, actually, to prepare their documents. Now that we have close to a year and everything is ready and set to go, what are we waiting for? It's just a matter now of us mobilizing ourselves. Of course, I know you represent us in East Africa and the Southern Africa market, so that would be very easy for us. We also have Ed Nasoro, who is also a coordinator, and we now have other coordinators in Central Africa and West Africa. And in the diaspora, of course, the Queens are here with their projects, and yes, we're going to bring it on board. So yes, we are ready. Tell me how ready you are. Tell me how ready you are.
Yeah, I'm very ready. As you know, we have the latest collection that is coming up. It's called Afrokachi.
Yes.
Afrokachi is made from purely African fabric. Maybe I can show you a bit of it. It's made from such African fabric.
Mm-hmm.
So we are developing this an African fabric, and this is made here in Kenya actually. So
Oh, really? It looks like
yes,
kente from Ghana.
yeah, it looks like it, but the patterns are different. If you check down, and the material is a bit different. They're
Okay.
uneven, yes, but the one for Kente is a bit thicker. I don't know. I think I can show you for Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
For Ghana wants to look that there's a slightly different in them. There's a bit
Mm-hmm.
slight different, yeah. This
Mm-hmm.
is one for
Mm-hmm.
Ghana, and it's also there in Liberia and in West Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. But I've started doing it here in Kenya, and I think they got mentorship from West Africa,
Mm-hmm.
which is a
Yes, of
good
course.
thing. Yeah. So something is coming on our collection called Afrokachi, where you blend the uneven with the African print.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that we are working on, and I know Africans will love it. And then we are using all the fabric. We are not throwing any fabric. So we do what is called recycling. Like if we have waste that are down, we use them to make small bags like this. I can show you. We use them to make such bags.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. So, and if you can see here, this is where you hold it with. So we use such fabrics to make this. So there is no
Mm-hmm.
fabric going at waste. Some of them, when they remain, we use them to make such kind of notebooks. You can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So every fabric that remains, we utilize it well. And this is what we need to encourage Africans, that we don't need to waste our fabric. We need to utilize them in a way that they can bring income to us, and in a way that we can also conserve our environment, and even encourage our generation to do the same, because
Of
wastage
course.
is not good.
That's how we do. I mean, that's an African thing. Like, look at the way we eat chicken. How do we eat chicken? Tell me.
Even fish, even fish.
I mean, we eat till the least bone. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh no, fish eating. I
yeah.
think we're going to do that competition during the trade fair. And I
Mm.
can guarantee you Cameroonians will win. Cameroonians eat fish like, I mean, like, no, there's no bone. The bone becomes dust, and even the dust is swallowed. You know, so
Yeah.
sustainability, renewal, refurbishing, or waste is not an African. Waste is
I,
actually
I, s-
learned.
I saw somebody on the comment asking about nursing uniforms. We do them. We do. If you check our website, you'll see we have done what is called Afro Vibes scrubbies. They're made purely
Okay.
from African prints. Uh, I've seen so many people there who have joined my sister there, and one of them is Jamal Malik. Jamal is a good friend, and he enjoyed our products. We made very nice kaunda suits
Mm-hmm.
for him. Yeah, and I'm so happy to see the comment. I'm so happy, my sister
Oh yes,
Susan.
all you're going to see more. I wasn't
Yeah,
getting comments from
mm,
YouTube. I was like, where is Cheryl? I'm not
yeah.
seeing Johnny and that. I was only like, okay, but now I mean I see all the comments are coming in. I see Stevie, I see all of you. Oh my God, this is interesting. Yes, one thing you said. I mean, we learned from the new leaders of today. You saw what Ibrahim Traore did in Burkina Faso by changing the complete school uniforms into local made fabrics, and those fabrics the government invested money there to produce, and even in small scales businesses like you. I mean, don't you think that's the spirit?
Absolutely. That's and Burkina Faso has had history for long, and you see all the good news sometimes come from Burkina Faso, and I think
Mm-hmm,
they have already set the pace for us as other countries to begin to understand and to feel that we can also do this in South Africa. It can be done in Ghana. It can be done in Cameroon. It can be done
mm-hmm,
in Uganda. It can be done in the Gambia. Anywhere in Africa,
mm-hmm.
we don't need to start with big things. We just need to strengthen what is already existing, and we need to
Yes,
support one another. And also we
yes.
need to cut off the critics. You saw what happened when the president of Burkina Faso did that. So many critics came from West. I hope you are
Mm-hmm,
following what was going on, and that should not
mm-hmm,
happen. So, like, we should begin to appreciate our own culture and identity, and even
mm-hmm,
the next generation that will come, they will begin to appreciate themselves and value our culture and our identity.
mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yes. You see even you see Jamal is saying they count the suits, and everybody. I mean, I saw it even one of the biggest Pan Africans from Cameroon that people actually really talk about is called Dr. Fonlon. You know, Bernard Fonlon. And
mm,
if you see even most of the ancient suits that they were using, all of them were the Kenneth Counter suit.
yes,
Now we see
yes,
Ruto. Ruto is 24/7 on the suit. And we're looking for a designer actually to present this collection during the first African Diaspora Trade Fair. Of course, I have a nice question from Stevie here, from Cheryl. And that question also has been in the mind, and I think that's the brand also that Cheryl is really coming up to address issues of hair, because hair industry is also $1 billion. But we also know that Kenyans, you came up actually with using, how do they call this plant? Um, mm, to weave the attachments on the hair. We saw actually one Kenyan lady that was partnering and that was actually promoting that industry. I think one of the youngest billionaires.
what is was it with Sisal? I think so, if I'm not
Faisal.
wrong. Yes,
Faisal.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Uh,
Faisal.
And Kenya is doing well in Sisal, like, especially in the eastern part of it. Sisal is doing well. That's why you see some of our products like the Kiondos, they are made
Mm-hmm.
from Sisal, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's coming. It's coming. It's coming in every part. It's coming, you know, from north, south, east. We just have to keep the narratives exactly on this point. Issues of regulations, and that we know these are international regulations that are also pushing African regulations. It's a whole global system. It doesn't mean that because it's not happening in China. Honestly, if I bring a Chinese youth here, he will complain and about the lack of freedom that they have in their countries rather than in Africa. Or if I bring a European youth here, so it's just relative. Now we don't want to focus on all this negative bad energy. We are really looking forward for you people, young people like you, Amos, Usman Toure, all the girls that are coming up, sassy and slaying looks and hair and stuff. Oh my God, we the seniors in the background, me, Stevie, Cheryl's, we're back and just push you and say, girl, you know what? We got you. We got you. We got you. Just go. So I can't wait. I can really wait. To get you see, you need sewing machines. These are questions that
Yes,
are coming up.
a lot. That is one of the challenges that we are going through. We need, in fact, we need majority of our immediate needs now are machines, and that's why other countries are doing better than us, because we still don't have such kind of machines.
Wonderful. So I can already imagine that, like fashion and designing and stuff is going to be installed at the first African diaspora, and you would make clothes and sell them on spot, isn't it? That's how fast the African
Definitely.
market
What
is.
I'll be happy about is to make them when there, so that people can also see and appreciate, and
Exactly.
even feel how these are done. That will be something interesting that I will really love to do.
Wonderful. That's the African smartness, the African intelligence. Like I know you buy your material, you stand, they tell you go and come, in the next hours you're already getting a suit or a pant or pullover or a catchy bag or something like that. I see a handbag behind you, Amos. Can you show us that? I mean, I love that. Behind
Which one?
you is this handbag from the catchy collection.
This one.
Yes.
Yeah, this one is so I hope you can see this. This is a
Yes, we've seen
blended.
it.
This is an African print,
Yes.
blended with canvas, and it is inside. You can see for ladies. Then we have made it in a way that when you put it down, it
Oh my
doesn't
God.
interfere with your stuff. Yeah. So this is just one of them, and then I wanted to show you one that has something unique that people are not. So this is the idea that I was talking about. This is a mini travel bag. You can see the way it is. So it has different fabric brought together. So one side does another fabric, the other side does another fabric. And then the handles, you can see. So it's a pattern we are using to make this kind of a bag. And this is a mini traveling bag. You can use it to do other things. Yeah. So we are doing quite a lot of stuff. If you can see here, there is a wash bag here you can carry. So we do quite, they are simple but very nice thing. When you carry as an Africa, you feel proud of your country. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. It's all about identity. Being proud, proudly. I mean, look at the Muslim women. I mean, they don't care. They're going to wear and it's always black. Look at the women from the Turk or the Arabic world. They wear their turbans and it's black, and they wear it first to 31st, whether it's winter or summer or what, they are in it. You understand?
That's
So
true.
of course it's a cultural thing to dress African, to present yourself. Like I say, your job, what you're trying to do is just to color Africa in its fabric. And we truly, truly appreciate you for that. And we're looking forward to this kind of partnership. And I'm waiting for a young man to join us to celebrate the anniversary of the 12-12 movement. Ubuntu Solidarity. And he just reminded me today because he was the initiator. Of course, it rhymes. It coincides with my date of birth, which we brought into that solidarity. And actually, he reminded me that was founded today. The idea was founded today. And I just sent him a link. Yes, for us, for him to join and stuff like that. And that would be great. I'm still waiting. But right now, we are here with Amos. And Cheryl say banana plant. Cheryl,
Yeah.
this one, you will be amazing.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Yes. I think there is also one from Steve. I hope you have seen it. Steve is saying that we can invest in your business by getting machines. That will be very good, Steve. I think maybe Dr. Susan Tatah will share the details. I'm
Of
more than
course.
interested. Yeah,
This is the Pan-African executive team, the women
yeah.
executive team from the Pan-African Daily. I mean, they're the
Mhm.
founders, they're the everything. We bring you here and they push the ideas. So, like, this is what we can do. Of course. Of course. Yes.
Mm.
All
Yes, so
right.
I'm really excited to see a lot of Africans coming to build ourselves and support such kind of show. This is so
Mm-hmm.
encouraging, and this is the love that we are talking about as Africans that
Mm-hmm.
we need to push. Trust me, we have the best fabric. I can't afford to show you all that we have here, but Africa has the best,
Mm-hmm.
and they are even the best of the best, apart from even us. There are those that are doing even better than us, so we need
Mm-hmm.
just to encourage one another, and where somebody is good at, we need to build them. Where somebody is not good at and somebody else is good at it, then we need to uplift that person that is good at it, so that at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day we support one another, because business of Africa is for Africans, and at the end of the day it will benefit our people. Yeah.
Absolute.
Mm.
Absolutely. That's the point. And it's time for Africa. It's not about Africa. It's everything that we do, and our executive women here supporting and pushing, encouraging the young people, regardless of the challenges that they go through. But it's really getting it. Like, I mean, I can imagine how we have to work extra times and, just to make sure that a little kind of contribution, because we believe in your creativity, we believe in your ability, we believe in your smartness, we believe in everything that you do,
Mhm.
and so why not? It's time. It's just time. I mean, I cannot wait us meet and do these things. I think the next show next week with you is you're going to come with your designers, you're going to come,
Yes,
for them to do us a kind of a fashion parade here on Pan African Daily TV. Okay. I mean,
that
we
will be
will
great,
look at that.
Dr. Susan, and I'm very grateful for just creating this opportunity, not just for me, but this platform has really benefited a lot of people across Africa. And that is what we are saying is about selfless motivation. And this has come from you. So we really don't take it for granted as young Africans who are looking up to bringing another generation that appreciate African culture and heritage. So I'm so grateful that Africans are beginning to really realize their identity. They're beginning to appreciate their culture, and they're beginning to feel appreciated, that yes, we can work together, we can support one another, and we can grow together to make Africa a better place.
Hmm. Did you
Yeah.
hear that? Get your proposal together. We got you 2024. Oh my God, I love this coins. Like, I just love this coins. Like, I don't know. Oh, Cheryl. Oh,
Thank you
Stevie.
so
I
much,
mean,
Cheryl.
all of them, all of you here, and the Kings here supporting this initiative. Actually, like we said, we just divided the channels. We have other channels that are coming up. We already set it up. We're going to get just a business
Mm,
channel in which we only sell online. Okay.
yeah.
So, but
Mm,
the problem that we're having, or the challenges that we're still facing, is trying to for the sellers to be able to set up their online accounts where people can buy live. Okay. So
mm,
we're gonna do live TV on sales and to encourage you young people. Like, I see all the beautiful things you have there. I can imagine if we were able to just send our hands and grab them, that
mm.
store would be empty right now. Everybody would
And
just be buying.
That's true, and I think in the near future, perhaps when times allow, we'll even come up with the designers that will have designed some of these things. Some of them come from a very humble background. They came with no knowledge of tailoring and the design, and
Mm-hmm.
some of them have not even gone to the university, but they're doing a very amazing work that people that have gone to the university can't do. So there are
Mm-hmm.
so many inspirational stories going on here at our place. And I know
Mm-hmm.
next time, when times allow, I will give them the chance also to perhaps share what they're doing, so that they also feel appreciated of their work.
Of course, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. The next series with you would really be live events in their workshops. you know, I know you have very beautiful models. I've seen everything. Those in South Africa, those in other places. Ethiopia also has the best fabrics. Cameroon is coming up with traditional fabric. Oh my God, it's just like the South African. Like the Bantu collection of people. We have beautiful fabrics. And I understand. Look at Mali. Look at Mali. The mud clothes in Mali. It's the same thing. We have also the Ndop clothes in Cameroon, and that's a brand that Pan African Daily is actually pushing. Fabrics and hair. That's the
Mhm.
new African identity. I mean, that's the new African identity that we want to put on our
Mm.
afros, our dreadlocks, our braids. Our even if we were stretchy, ours made by us. Okay, so I think this is a very important a topic, and we see how much it's getting through young people. You're motivated to come live, present your projects to us. Okay, present your projects to us and look for support, because we have a lot of people that are looking to invest in this in young people. Not just only that, and to adopt young people from the continent. We want to get families back home, because I
Mm.
mean, like, me, if I want to go on the continent, I'll be in Kenya. I never can stand going into a hotel. I can't stand it. you know
Yeah.
I
And
like
that's
to.
the spirit. That's how we used to live as Africans. Like there were no these hotels and all the. We used to stay
Yeah.
together, eat one food together, share,
Mhm.
and I'm really appreciating it that even in the countries that I've gone, I've always been welcome with Africans. Uh,
Yeah. Of course, sure.
mm,
It's like
yeah,
it's Kenyan Day today. It's Kenyan Day
yeah,
on the African Daily TV.
mm,
So I don't
mm.
know. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. It's been a wonderful pleasure. I think the next guest is there. The 1212 brother Karanja is already in studio. I mean, to fortify and to really join in the solidarity Ubuntu movement that he created, he initiated, and of course, we took it up to the world to celebrate the oneness of Africa. You can also be here. It's your brother from Kenya. I mean, it's like Kenya is always coming up with some of these good vibes, some of these some of the good vibes and I think the 12 movement is also having a lot of brands, and they're coming up with a lot of identity products, whether they're t-shirts or they're printout or whatever, anything that is just going to make us be that us, be that us unapologetically. Okay, that is us. So yes, Sharon is saying something very good here. Like, there are vendors in US who buy or sell African products and get them from Africa using African seamstresses. Yes, you see.
Yeah. Mm,
And that's the reason, that's the importance of the diaspora trade fair. Because I've known, and actually the idea came because most of our diasporans, particularly in the Caribbean and the Americas, don't have access to getting contacts on the continent to be
yeah.
able, to get products. Honestly, like, our markets would just be all black. Of
Yeah.
course,
That's.
but you
Mm,
still see some of those mini shops, or even like the hawkers or the traders that go to such festivals like the ones that we do with a cultural market and stuff like that. That is not enough. That's not enough. It has to be everywhere, all the shopping malls. Why not? When we come together like this, it's not only an e-commerce a platform that we're setting, but also an Africa mall where you go
mm,
everywhere. It's everything about Africa. And I can tell you, Stevie, Cheryl, Snovia, and all these Pan African women, we are up to it, and we're going to do it. whether it's for records and music, or it's for artists, or it's for comedians, or it's for this. We're coming up with a powerful mall, and that mall will be replicated all over Africa. Okay. So, but we need you. We need you, young people. If you're in fashion, so you bring your fashion. Okay. Those that are in beauty products, health, hair and fashion and stuff like that, you bring it. So the mall is just a place where we take all your stuff and put it, the departmental store policies that just came up. And that's how malls came. China is building some of the biggest malls that I know in Africa now. They're going to dump all their China-made stuff, and they actually will be copying your fabrics. But now we're going to do the African mall by the African movement of 1212 and women. And I don't think anybody can beat us. Okay. So thank you so very much, Amos. It's been a pleasure to have you here. And
thank you to my sister. Sorry. Thank you so much, my sister, for having me, and also for those who join. I think they are the greatest resources and wealth that we have. That joining such shows is really encouraging that we Africans are together and we are supporting one another. So I'm really looking forward to us working together more. We have known each other for quite some time, Dr. Susan, and through you, we have really gained a lot of Africans of goodwill who want to support our work, and also vice versa. So I'm really looking forward to working with other Africans willing for us to work together, willing to promote what we are doing. Like now, we have just been nominated to go to South Africa for the award. So currently, we are preparing for that. I'm in the process of trying to raise ticket for 2 people, one of my designers. So we are trusting that all this will happen with the goodwill of Africans who are seeing the good thing that we are doing for the continent. I'm also urging all Africans watching this to support this Pan-African TV. This is the only TV that has really uplifted a lot of young Africans, if you've seen from Osman to name them. And it has really made impact to young people across the continent, not just young, but even Africans. And it's bringing us together to unite, to begin to realize that we Africans have a lot of potential. So I'm saying thank you, and I'm really wishing you good night, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're watching from.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Amos. And we're seeing you next week again on the next edition of Loink Africa Foundation, Fabrics for Africa, and Dressing Africa in its authentic fabrics and cotton made in Africa. Thank you very much. We're going to connect to you, and God bless you on your journey. We keep in touch. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amos. Thank you. Good night. Okay, people, we're bringing in the next guest, but let's do something. All right. I mean, you all know Joseph Karanja, Brother Karanja from Kenya. Brother Karanja actually is the brainchild of the 1212 Ubuntu movement. And he actually reminded me, I think that was yesterday or today in the morning, to say, hey, Queen, remember, today is the celebration or the 3rd anniversary of the 1212 Ubuntu movement. So please welcome with me here live in studio, the 1212 a movement, or the 1212 King, right here. It's been a while. Can you hear me?
Yes, Queen, I can hear you very clearly. I've been hearing you with Brother Amos right there. Can you also hear me?
Yes, I hear you. When you heard you heard the conversations with Brother Amos on how we need to rebrand, Africa through our identity, through our brands, of course, the mindset that we are creating is going to be reflected by how we possess ourselves and what we carry. And I see all around you 1212, One Love, Ubuntu, and the movement of oneness. So you share Amos' perspectives, isn't it?
I share completely. If you said something very interesting, if I don't make it, I don't wear it. I hope we can embrace that.
Yes, if I don't make, I don't wear. That's for
Yeah.
sure. So, yes, tell us about the 12-12 movement and how it's been federating. And I see all around you is 12-12. Can you just remind us
Yeah.
again about why we should celebrate and continue to embrace Ubuntu? Sure.
Yeah, Dr. Susan, thank you very much for hosting me once again. Has been a while, since we were on this show
Yes.
explaining about 12-12. But you see, as you see, I've continued to preach it. At the moment, I'm in Kenya, I'm on the motherland, and I'm still preaching it even to the streets. Behind me, what you see is a map, of the continent, and with all the symbolism and the writings, 12-12, one love, Ubuntu, um, and the clock. Actually, the clock here, you see a clock.
Mm-hmm.
It functions so such that when it's like 12 p.m., when you're there and explaining the streets, people can see and they can visualize what you are trying to explain.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about a common practice whereby we can embrace something we can all do, regardless of economic position or education.
Mm-hmm.
It transcends our differences, socio-political or even religious, or all the diversity we have in culture.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone can set the alarm. So wherever you are, whoever you are, as far as you are an African who is yearning for unity, so you don't have any barrier. You just set the alarm, as simple as it sounds, like setting a mere alarm. That's a very simple action. Like, you don't have to pay nobody for that. You don't need no connections. You don't need no PhDs or So anyone, it's like an equalizer. You remember the story of how it all started. It came as an epiphany, and
Yes.
today is the day. Queen. Today is the day.
Yes.
Yeah, it was 4 years today on 12th October 2020. And if you remember, it was in the rise of Black Lives Matter demonstrations across the world after the brutal murder of brother George Floyd in the U.S. And
Mm-hmm.
this is when I was in meditation sometime, wondering what's the solution to this, because I was in Germany by then, and I was participating in these Black Lives Matter demos. But I
Mm-hmm.
realized it was not like um, the solution, because you realize it has been happening forever. We go to the streets, we say Black Lives Matter, we cry, we beg, then we go home, and the white people, who are in the demos, they continue enjoying their white privileges, and the black people, the black brothers and sisters in the streets, they go back and continue suffering, systematic racism. So the question is what's the real solution to this? And that's when, in one moment during some deep meditation, an epiphany came in a form of a number. A number showed up in the mind, and I was directed, like, use this number as a formula to unite or to solve this problem. And I was wondering, how do you use a number? Uh, as you see, 12, the number was number 12. So I was wondering, how do we use a number 12? Because it just came from nowhere, an epiphany, something you didn't plan about it. It just showed up. And then I could hear that, I could feel that I believe our ancestors were answering this question that I was having during this meditation about the solution to these Black Lives Matter demonstrations and, oppression. So
Mm-hmm.
I was told, the inspiration said, group into groups of 12 people all over the world, everywhere, from grassroots, from the
Mm-hmm.
villages to the cities. Get yourselves into groups of 12 people, yeah, and have your self-help groups, like, support each other, practice Ubuntu. Like, we forgot Ubuntu. Practice Ubuntu in those groups.
Mm-hmm.
Be your brother's keeper, be your sister's keeper, and support each other, because you realize these other people, they take advantage of our own separations, or what we do amongst ourselves to each other. is a weak point. So they capitalize on that, and then they defeat us, and then we start crying, why are you doing this to us? But now this inspiration was telling me, you people are the people to solve it. You don't have to go and beg for mercy in the streets, and saying Black Lives Matter. No, work on
Yes.
yourselves. Like, how are you living? How are you living the brotherhood? Stop competitions, stop jealousy, stop all this,
Mhm.
but come together and live in Ubuntu, because remember, we are people, we are Ubuntu people. But then it's like we forgot and we started living all the opposite of Ubuntu.
Mhm.
And that's what now we are suffering.
Actually, yes. Even till today, our clocks are still ringing because we shared that. You see, standing in agreement is powerful. Now, if we can agree in the spirit at the same time, 12-12. Yeah, for example, the colonization would fall, Burkina Faso would prevail. Just I got it. That's the spirit, and even when you came actually and presented that, I took it also um, on the first journey to Detroit, when I was invited for the Black Excellence Conference, and also the revelation was clear. We need to, the double number I explained, and automatically it became like a source of me because I'm a 12-12 girl. And so the 12 and the 12, it's just a combination of both that looks the same. So when I showed even Professor James and some of the prophets, and everybody was just like, it's the female and the negative and the male energy that must come as one. Because
Mm-hmm.
we know the systems that have divided us into, oh, this is and they start talking about gender programs and stuff like that. But in our ancient African country, we are one. And so when one is not meeting up, you look at you look at even the leadership on the continent, you look at the hardness of the continent, because the spirit of the mother has been tampered with, you understand, has been smudged. And you know it in every sector, whether this is Mother Earth or Mother Africa or it's a mother. We've never heard for the Africa or for the this. It's not because I'm saying for the so, but the 12-12 movement also started in America too. We also have the 12-12 movement. When they gathered together, it's really a movement too. So your revelation just came back into actually fortifying what we had lost. And I think we're truly grateful to say, yes, we are celebrating this. My other phones were tempered on, but 12-12, simply because first, I'm a 12-12 girl, my 12-12 rings at every 12-12. And I'm urging all of you that are watching us today, if you had forgot, I know Stevie's phone rings. I know Cheryl's phone ring, whoever. I know Zenobia's phone rings. I know Professor Baina Bello phones ring because we met in Cameroon and it was 12-12. Mine was ringing, her own
Wow.
was ringing. And I know a
Wow.
lot of our queens and our kings out there who actually were who watch the Detroit conference actually set their clocks on 12-12, and it is ringing to today. So if you're
Wow.
new to the 12-12 movement of Ubuntu and you want to tap into this spirituality of oneness of the African continent, please go to your phones. It doesn't matter. 12 p.m. It's going to ring in different areas. In Congo, it's going to ring at the same time. In East Africa, it's going to ring at the same time. Central, North, and that, or in the diaspora, but let it ring. So, my king, I'm coming back to you, Brother Karanja. You said something like, it's a connection and it's also a spirit of oneness. But you see, it's like we already also it came like, even in business, the 12-12 is the code to get 12 business partners invest in each other. I think when you talk to Brother Amos, he's going to tell you they are 12. Okay, like on the Pan
Wow.
African, we're 12. The women and us, we're 12. And in the in the
Mm-hmm.
in the organization, the African world, we are 12. So the 12-12 movement is not just something to talk about. We asked a lot of questions during that time. Why does the 12 the clock is set as midday 12? We also ask questions like, Why are they 12 months in a year? We also ask questions like, why did Jesus have 12 disciples? Like everything ties up with the energy of unity and
Mm-hmm.
connection through the 12-12 movement. And if you really go actually on to find out what 12-12 is, of course, you just see the answer is there. Over to
I
you.
mean, as you put it, it's a bringing together, as you said, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and it's all in nature. It's a code in nature. You see, even it's not a coincidence that a day has 12 hours and a night 12 hours. It's 12, also 12, 12. You see, and all these biblical stories you hear about, the Christ had 12 disciples, and you realize, and the said tribe of, the tribe of Israel had the 12 um,
12 tribes.
sub tribes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you realize these are codes. These are codes. These are codes. It can be dug deeper, and this is code in the nature. It's no coincidence. All this is like a code that we have to uncode. And you realize amongst ourselves, there are so many people who will not get it easily, but many will get it right away. And you realize, I was trying to do some research, and I found a research that was done on psychology, something called the 100-monkey effect, whereby a certain number, when a certain number of people or species does something or learns something or embraces a new, let's say, practice or trend, then they have the power to influence the collective consciousness. So you realize uh, it was done in Japan, research whereby some monkeys in an island learned to wash sweet potatoes before they ate them. And when these monkeys learned to wash the sweet potatoes, and when the number reached 100, when the 100 monkey learned, you realize all the monkeys in this island learned it automatically. It became a collective consciousness thing. They didn't have to be taught. And then this practice also was observed in the neighboring islands. So the research was saying, or the study was saying, when a certain number of people embrace a certain practice, then it becomes something in the collective. The collective will start doing it automatically. So you realize, if we do this in Africa, the chosen ones, a certain number in Africa, on the mother continent, they start doing it. They embrace Ubuntu in their lifestyle. The rest will just embrace it. We will not have we don't have to go like teaching each and everyone one by one by one. There are those people, when they hear this, they get it. Those are the chosen ones. They get it. They just set the alarm. You said already, some people who already set the alarm by hearing the first time, because those are the chosen ones. And in the community, we just need a certain number of them. And when they embrace it, then it becomes a normal thing in the collective consciousness. So that's where we are heading right now. That's where we are. We are already gathering the numbers, because already several people have already set it. When a certain number will be reached, then in Africa you realize all these things we are suffering, tribalism and xenophobia, and it will be a thing of the past. So it will become normal for everyone to just live in the Ubuntu spirit. So the chosen ones, when they hear the message, they'll just get activated, and just a number of them are enough.
Absolute. And of course, and at the first African Diaspora Trade Fair in Germany, we're going to set our alarms on 12-12 movement. It's also going to be a participating a subject, like with a stand, and even the concept in terms of give out and stuff like that, because like we said, we don't have a common code. Particularly, we have that code in our DNA. And so if that common code is activated at 12-12, it is but very easy that we can actually, like you said, why do I just feel 12 p.m. is something? Meditation, midnight prayers. Why do people, I want to do my midnight prayers and they just set it at 12? Okay, because of course it's the common energy that influence the collective, and I think that's we kind of slept. I can tell you, we never forgot about it, but because the Pan-African Daily TV social media accounts were silent, intentionally silent, you know, that's why it came. It kind of like, but it's already in the gene of us. Like I said, if you talk to Professor Baina, she's gonna ring at 12:12. And I remember last
Amazing.
year when I went to South Africa on an invitation from this spiritual leader. You know, there's nothing that is a coincidence in these things. Like we're simply just realizing it. There's nothing that we are making it up, because I cannot imagine that day in South Africa, Cape Town. I mean, I was like the keynote speaker and the only, female energy that was there, and an organization of more than 4 million people, right? And when I woke up, like the other speakers had spoken, and I was the last to speak. Brother, I'm telling you, I went on stage. It was 12:12.
Wow.
Like literally,
Wow.
I thought I was going to tell them, about 12:12 movement. I was not looking at my time. None of us had the influence on the time. I just sat a bit because I had my handy close to me. And when I was called to speak, brother, it was 12:12. I still have the video, I still have the images. And I showed them in the crowd. I said, look, this is 12:12. Please set your alarms on 12:12. And they just did it because it was a whole
Amazing.
conscious community. They just did it before later on they start asking me, how did you come about the number? Then I like, it's in a movement. Of course, it's my birthday, but it's in a movement. And they said they also meet in that spiritual congregation at 12:12. You see,
Wow.
there is no coincidence in everything. It was so amazing because, like, I was like, this is just not happening. But of course, yes, it is happening. So the energy brings the same energy together. So I'm still calling on you people, please set up your alarms as we're speaking right now. All of you that are watching me and those that will watch this video, we had actually kind of like relaxed on this topic, but now that we're coming back, all the energies are coming back collectively. We need the 12:12 movement, to lead us through. Over to you, Brother Karanja.
Yeah, especially that today is the fourth anniversary since the Epiphany came. So it's also a big day. We didn't plan on this. You just told me I can come. I just said today's the anniversary, and we are like, hey, can we do something? It's all when it's as you are saying, is when it's divine timing. You can't block it. You cannot delay it. You cannot plan it. It's just divine timing.
And it's just there. It's amazing. Yeah. Yes. It is amazing. The number 12 is amazing and spiritual. I remember my late father used to warn our family that whoever would try evil rituals would die at 12. Oh my God, King Legend of Africa, you are. Yes, why not? Pour a libation is going to work. Whoever would try evil rituals, that's what is going to happen. So yes, we're really happy we're celebrating here, and I can see Sister Banker is here. Oh my God, Sister, thank you. It's been a while. I'm very sure as we're ringing the 12:12 movement bell, the collective is coming up. But Karanja,
and
yes,
sorry.
yes.
So no.
Go ahead. I was about to talk about the drums.
Really? No. Yeah, that's what I was just about to show you. When it rings at 12 p.m., you can imagine we can start to, you drum wherever you are. And then, as you said earlier, we have different time zones, but that is not a barrier because through entrainment, and synchronization, we're gonna start at different intervals. When East African time is 12 p.m., wherever you are, just do it. Yeah, you're gonna pour libation. You're gonna do some meditation. You know, if you wanna drum, this is a way of communication. So you can imagine one day we can all drum together at the same time. But for now, let's start with the wherever you are, just do it there. Just like the firefly effect or the
Mm-hmm.
clapping effect, whereby you realize in a hall or in a church, people can start, clapping very disorganized. But with time, you realize this clapping becomes entrained, and somehow they all clap with a rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
without no one telling them. The same thing
Mm-hmm.
with the firefly. I was trying to do some research on all this, and I realized I saw that the fireflies also start blinking at different intervals, just disorganized, but with time they get entrained,
Mm-hmm.
or say you can say synchronized, and then
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing will be doing, you see, the whole thing in the forest, the fireflies will be blinking at the same time. So the same case here with us in Africa, or all over, because it's worldwide. Remember, this is what Marcus Garvey wanted, and that's why you see
Mm-hmm.
all over me is the red, black, and the green all over. You see,
Mm-hmm. I see it. Yes.
yeah. So the thing is worldwide. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Look at that. Look at that. Today I
Yes,
found this,
like you
in the
do
street.
everything. Oh my, yes.
Yeah. This I found a woman in the streets of Nairobi making these flowers from some waste bottles, covering it, being creative with some wool, and I found it very beautiful. She didn't have this idea initially. She used to do the Kenyan thing with the white. She didn't
Yes.
put the black. She never thought that the black would be this beautiful. So I was like, make me a Marcus Garvey one. So she had
Mm-hmm.
different colors, but she didn't have such. But she did it,
Mm-hmm.
and she liked it. She loved it. She was like, look at that. I'll be making
Yes.
such.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
that's so beautiful. Yeah. So
it's so
as I'm
nice.
saying, it's worldwide, and wherever you are, just do it 12 p.m. But with time, we shall get entrained, and like we had said the other time about Congo time. Maybe one day we can choose a day and do it at the same time, Central African time, or we focus in Congo and say when it's 12 p.m. in Congo, we all in the world, wherever we are, we can stop and take our African drum and do
Mm-hmm.
that collective thing
Mm-hmm.
for the
Mm-hmm.
solidarity we are up to. And Marcus Garvey will be very happy with us.
I mean, the spirit of motherland, the spirit of awakening in us is actually, I'm so happy. And yes, that you coincidentally is not something that we even talked about or planned, but it just happens because exactly the middle point, like we say, from the time we already agreed here on the Pan African Daily, we launched a lot of things going on. We can never, there's no way that we can fall apart again. It's just not possible. From the time we had all taken that oath that one thing that we want is the collective good of the unity of the African, there's nothing that is stopping it again. That's why automatically, we connected today too, because, the pineal gland connected and like, hey, what day is today is Mother Africa Day. And we're really,
Mhm.
really, truly so happy with you. Brother Tabe A. Wesley, just give me a minute. We recently launched a Pan African Film School, and it's across 5 African countries already. And you said you are waiting for an invitation. Please just send us an email on panafricandailytv@gmail.com. We're going to set you up. So you can tell us about this beautiful initiative, because film is also one thing that is part of the process of the liberation. Music, film, everything, fabrics, cooking, mindset, codes like what we're having here. So Brother Tabe, will really be happy to have you on the show anytime. So like I said, reach out. We're going to plan and have you on the show. Let me just put it at panafricandailytv@gmail.com. It's as simple as we are. So yes, and any of you, we said that's the platform for young people. Bring your innovations, not just young people, every person that is bringing out something, that is creating, elevating, promoting, connecting, inventing stuffs that are for Africa. Please come here. Just come here, and we are willing to have you. Yes. So wait, this is the Joseph from Kenya.
Who's that?
Queen Cheryl, you're asking, this is
Ah,
this the Joseph from Karanja? Yes, Bro Karanja is from Kenya. I guess that's what you mean, right? Say yes,
yeah,
it is welcome. So
yeah.
yes, brother, it's. I mean, I remember the first time you came on the show, you talked about, how you came into this whole movement, and we connected at a different level, and now bringing it back. Did you actually? I mean, like the 4 years, what have you been doing? Of course, I've been following you or posting, walking on the street, talking to young people, asking them to set their alarms. What did you encounter any kind of like setbacks, or everybody was just like, yes, we're good to go? Did people wanted to know why, in Africa they're like, oh, there's some juju kind of stuff, or there's some codes like, oh, you want to.
Of course, of course. Yeah, you come across some people saying, "Hey, that is Illuminati. Where are you?" You know, such funny comments, and others they just wanna say, "Ah, that is Rastafarianism." I got dreadlocks. So and the colors, and you are talking about one love. So they just dismiss you and say that's just Rastafarian thing. And then they just don't want to know much what you're trying to talk, but you don't get discouraged because you're on mission and you have to take the message. And one thing I know is that it's not everyone who is going to hear the message and understand it. It's for there are those people who are chosen ones. They are placed everywhere. They're gonna hear it and get it. There are those people, they just hear it and get what you mean. Even they start telling you much and much and even much more. Those are the
Mhm,
people. Those are the people you got to activate. And when
mhm,
we get in an enough number of them, then even the rest will not have an option. It will just become the norm in Africa.
mhm,
What we want is our back to Ubuntu, so that we
mhm,
live in that unity, and that unity will bring about power, which will command dignity, as Marcus Garvey was always saying, like, get organized and you will command the world to respect you, and they will
mhm,
stop killing us the way they kill us like mosquitoes in the streets,
mhm,
and we will stop it. Go in the streets saying Black Lives Matter. So
mhm,
as you have said, the point of rejection and ridicule, you have to go. It's part of it. It makes it interesting. So every
mhm,
day I come across every kind of character, and it makes it interesting along the way. And I know it's not everyone who hears it is gonna appreciate it right away, but there are those people who they are placed everywhere strategically, divinely, and those are the people we want to activate, and that's enough.
mhm. Wonderful. It's
Yeah.
so precious. Yes, it's so precious to have this here. And yeah, the drummings too. The drummings. We're also still looking for that kind of collective of like, we talked about drumming. I think we also talked about drinking water, or we talked about just stop and remember one another. When your alarm rings, it's just an energy that you sent over. You can say we were coming out also with the affirmations that you can just meditate in your heart, like we are one, with the universe, with the creator, with nature. We are one with Mother Africa. We are one with the spirit of the ancestors and the creator. We are one, in that kind of a thing. So I think we started, mm, but we're still going to we're going to touch base on that, so that we have an affirmation. And every 12/12, it is that energy that we send out, and to actually catch the others, so that we can actually in unison pull out something. And I think the walls would break. The wars on the continent would stop.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
walls in Africa separated would break from its own. And do you think you even underestimate the small one that we've done for 4 years, and the power and the fire that is going on? Do we?
Let me tell you, Queen, it's amazing that recently I joined a group, a Pan-African group, and just somewhere I posted, like, normal, my introduction, I have, I go posting 12, and I realized people know about it. Some people, some brothers from the United States, they said they heard about it in a presentation, and they set the alarm. Yeah. So whatever we are doing, we don't underestimate. As far as just give the message. Some people everywhere, we have the chosen ones. They're everywhere. They're gonna hear and they're gonna do it. I see a comment here. Someone saying, I often said, wonder what the word would sound like if we sing all at once. And this is coming. Remember, this is coming, and we already have like some. I was looking at our these days, like the 25th of May, the African Day, and I realized George Floyd was murdered on that same day, 25th May. That's when they knelt on our brother, and that was not individual. That was kneeling on the continent. That was kneeling on the whole black race. Like that's when Mama Africa was crying. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. You see. And now, because we have this day as the African Day, and this is the day this Mama Africa was crying through our brother George Floyd, we can take this day and say, when it's 12:12 on this day, we can all drum together. Then we select a certain, a centered time zone. For example, Congo, because Congo is, every black man's riches, we should offer it for Congo. So we can take Congo and say, when it's 12:12 p.m. on 25th May in Congo, we all, stand in that solidarity. We all set the alarm for that day and that moment. And all of us, wherever we are, we can drum, or we can do whatever we can do for our, solidarity. What do you think about it?
It's not a matter of thinking about. I don't think there's any coincidence in this journey and this purpose that we're all fulfilling here. I think everything is just on point. May 25th is the Africa Day, and we have never had any common unity, something that unifies us apart from the political AU, kind of like buffet celebration at the embassies here, or in countries where they just sit in a small, that kind of political bottleneck cries and say we're celebrating the AU Day, because apparently, they consider the date a political day. But I'm very happy we have Professor Pondi. He's coming next week to talk exactly about the formation of the AU, and why Muammar Gaddafi, of late, came out with that spirit of that day. So most of us actually, like we say, most of the agendas of the continent, we don't know. We just say, yes, May 25th. But if you ask May 25th, what actually happened? Yes, the forefathers and met in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and they decided, to create the Organization of the African Union in 1963. But then he said, I think it was in 2008, 2018 or 2008, that the name, it was renamed, or 2012, something like that, renamed the organization, no, the AU, because it was the Organization of the African Unity, and now then the African Union. So you see, there's some words, or even some things, if the code doesn't go according to the intention of the creator or of the initiator, the spirits would never function. The common things that Africans should be asking: why was it changed from Organization of African Unity to African Union? We're not asking those questions.
There's also this question of initially the African Liberation Day to Africa Day.
Yes.
Well, where did the word liberation go? Yeah, they don't want to activate that liberation spirit.
They keep shortening.
Yeah,
they keep shortening everything. I'm sorry, because I don't want this word to slip off my mind before I throw it out. If, like the way we're saying, unity is very key to us as African people. What does a union have to do with unity? Doesn't tie. We can have a union,
Mm.
but we're not united. So the fact
Mm-hmm.
that O, A, U, and then remove the O, and then even the U replace it, automatically break that code of unity and love from the initiator. That is why I truly accept with you. Like, I think this new spirit had to come up to put something behind that seals us, that binds us, that comes with that love, of identifying who we are and then bonding together. So, as a matter of fact, Africa Union, it's right here in the studio here. Africa Union, absolutely, like, just means nothing.
Mm.
It's a union of
Mm.
African states, fine. But you see, the fact that it was corrupted from Organization of African Unity to just a union, simply like there's no power. And even
It's
in
just
just
that
the name,
it becomes someone's tool. It
yes,
becomes someone's tool to use somehow, the union. Mm.
yes,
That's
yes.
critical. That's very critical.
That is critical. That is critical. And because that's exactly the consciousness that we're talking about. That's the consciousness of saying who we are. Because in Ubuntu, it's just simply I am because you are. You are
Yeah.
because I
Mm.
am. So we
Mm.
are. I am. And I keep thanking our siblings in the diaspora. I love this diaspora and I thank this diaspora, and we appreciate and respect this diaspora for all the endurance, because I think even when the light went off out of the continent, the diaspora never quenched their own light, because they're the ones that even are bringing the African Liberation Day. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at that intelligence that was stolen from us to into the diaspora, you could imagine the state of mind and the positions that we already were on. So our diaspora is actually the intelligence that was stolen from Africa. And that's why we respect it. And that's why, without us coming together, this other piece of the 12 that was hijacked or captured as prisoners of war and taken into the diaspora, there's no complete Africa worldwide. Does it make sense?
Worldwide. Yeah. I was listening to this musician, the great Burning Spear, and
Yes.
he was singing about, these brethren were one brethren before they were, separated. And these are the kind of anthems we need to, to sing or to play whenever the solidarity alarm, the 12 alarm rings.
Mhm.
What I usually do on Sundays when I'm in the street, I play this kind of songs that have these messages, and I explain. To the people. Sometimes we usually have we take a generalization music about reggae and just say reggae music. You don't listen. But I've been listening to, especially Burning Spear, and he's all about Marcus Garvey and black unity, black people unity. And as you have said, our diaspora, these are, he says in the songs, these brethren were one brethren before they were taken out, before
Mhm.
during slavery. That's
Mhm.
what we need to reactivate and remind ourselves and start seeing. First of all, in Africa, forget those Berlin Conference borders, and then
Mhm.
go the extra, stretch the hand to your brother or sister who was taken to the Caribbean, who was taken to
Mhm.
the United States,
Mhm.
everywhere. And this solidarity, Alam, it's a common practice that wherever you are, you set it. And when we play these songs, they are speaking to our souls and spirit. And I
Mhm.
mean, it's unstoppable.
Of course. It's the time. Is the time of the freedom. And even we had said it, even the songs that we should listen to right now. And oh my God, everything is just working out. If I look at the sister that is just a sister banker, when you say Umoja wa Afrika, of course we have that slogan for the cultural event in Germany is Umoja wa Afrika, not Umoja Africa, really Umoja wa Afrika. That's the logo and the slogan on it. um but coming down coming to the point where you say the songs of freedom, the songs of freedom. And singing, music is the oil of the African spirituality. The energy that we speak out is just like film, like Brother Walla is talking about film. It's just like theater, it's just like spoken words. But the songs of freedom, like this is the moment that we're coming back to the one love and the songs of freedom. Yes, we have Afrobeat that actually is also melting. It's melting the diaspora into a lot of collaborations, and they're doing a collaborating in the. I mean, I just listened to by Davido and Chris Brown. I'm telling you, like it's crazy. It is just. I mean, I came from Africa and introduced it to my boys, and they were like, "Mommy, how do you know?" I said, "Because it is about unity." Honestly, I didn't focus on. I love the rhythm. I love Afrobeat. I mean, like everything, whether it's our reggae or whatever, I love it. I listen only to it, right? But that fusion between Brother Davido and Brother Chris Brown, and if you look at the melting, is awesome. Where on earth don't you listen to Afrobeat now? Where? It's all
Nowhere.
over. It's
It's all over.
everywhere. So it is just the time, these symbols and the signs that are speaking to us, that are coming to us, is only a reminder of something that we lost, centuries ago. So yes, I really want to thank you. Yeah. So how do we go from here, my king? I know you had already put also a series of lectures on this, and I think, yeah, your position is always has been on Pan African Daily, and as the voice of the youth, and this week is all throughout, the week of the youth, and yes, we'll really love to have you again on the show.
Maybe what can do you also do it during the day?
Yes, of course, of course. We're gonna be. I just need, and I think we're working order to put, like we always been saying, youth that would be hosting on Pan African Daily. And so, like, I can
Okay.
imagine your show is going. It's not going to be a conversation. It's your program. It's the same
Yeah.
thing with Brother Amos. It's the same thing that we're out. We haven't really got our girls on point, but it's coming up that we begin to empower you. You have your own product. If you say my program will take time from this to this, and then of course you just come live and you go on your program. So it can be mornings, it can be afternoon, not necessarily evening. But let's talk about that, in the background because we're actually
Sure.
already doing the programming as well. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
So
just
thank
thinking
you.
about this. All right.
Yes.
So
Thank you so very
yeah,
much.
Queen. Yeah. Thank you.
It
Thank
was
you very
great.
much for. Thank you. Thank you. We shall do some more. We shall do some more. We can talk the whole night.
I know. Of course, that's us. That's us, right? When we're connected, we even just, we know that. Mm. So anyway, thank you so very much, brother. And we keep in touch, and we'll just come out with the calendar, and everybody will have to, position themselves. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah. Asante sana.
Pamoja.
So
Tuko
so
pamoja.
one last word for your audience. Set your alarms. Mm?
Yeah. Just calling. Set the alarm wherever you are. Let it ring every day. It's our common practice. You realize that's a form of unity. And it's a language also. That's a language we are speaking. It's also symbolism, and symbolism is universal. So set your alarm, do your thing. You know, we have these people with in different religious or spiritual practices. Do what you do and dedicate it to Africa when 12 p.m. rings. And let us, you know, start coming back to who we are, because the time is here. And whenever this alarm rings, you know, we are conditioning our subconscious mind, you know, to solidarity, because you realize we have been really worked on for division and separation. So this, whatever you are doing with this alarm, is a conscious decision. Wherever you are, you take it consciously and you decide it. You set it on your own phone, and you realize it's just simple, but it's really strong. It connects you with everyone else who is setting it, and we start, you know, connecting spiritually. You can do
That's
your
great.
libations, you can play your drums. So let's do it.
Ashe. Thank you so very much, Bayente. And yes, good night to you from Kenya. I know it's pretty, really, really late out there, right? So we'll do it better next time to reset. Thank you very much. So good night, brother. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful people. I just brought the text of Sister Banker, who said, you know, US for Africa, free food, free housing, free education, free healthcare, tribeless, fearless, and leaderless. Of course, that's actually Ubuntu. That's who we are, right? This order system that came in that we have to do with without some of those things we all have seen, that is it can just be a little part of it, but that doesn't complete us. We can literally live like that: free food, free housing, free education, you know, by sharing with one another. And you know, yeah, by putting our foot where our mouth is. Yes, yes. That's the whole word. Condition your subconscious mind to solidarity. We thanked Brother Karanja. I mean, he was really on point on that. Yes. Very, very subconscious. If we don't have something that actually reminds us all the time, you know, that wake us up. Like if you just hear it ring, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, there we go. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Love, peace, free food, free clothing, free this, free money to support our initiatives, free support for all platforms that we're hosting or that we're having, free businesses, free everything. Yes, free. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot right there. So I want to thank you. Greetings, kings and queens. Ubuntu, Grenada, GD, Mabel, Queen Smart. Thank you so very much. Also, greetings to you in Grenada. And sisters, we want to hear from you. Like I said, it's really high time now. It's high time means, you know, we have to take position. We have to take a space on Pan African Daily TV. I think tomorrow, like I said, we have to start a worship program every Sunday. We have to start a worship program, a spirituality program. We do know that all the reason why we are here is because we are chosen to be here and to follow our purpose. It's not a passion. It's not a passion. I'm not doing a passion here. And I don't think we're doing a passion here. We can do a passion somewhere else, but we're doing a purpose. We're accomplishing a mission in creation, right? And the purpose why we are here. And so I look forward. Bring ideas, not just ideas. Position yourself on the platform. Most of us, we have the teachings, we have the energy, we have the spirit to connect people. And all of us, particularly as the mothers, right? And so we want to position ourselves here. You see what our young people are already coming up. You see how firebrand they are, how they charge up, whether they're thinking just about subconsciousness things or others, everything is just in place. So I want to really, really thank you. I mean, for the first time now we are on 2 hours, 7 minutes, which I mean, for the longest time we haven't actually arrived at this point, but we're building back our energy. We're really coming back, you know, to the space where we were disconnected. And I think all of us have made huge experiences. Cheryl, you traveled. I mean, we want to know that experience, how it was sailing in the sea, you know, how you connected with the waters and stuff. So yes, please. A lot is coming up. We're 24/7 open. So we want to place this 24/7 programs, even if it's just 5 individual programs during that time. Like the brother that is coming up, Brother Wayne, wants to tell us about his Institute of Filming. And so, yes, why not? We are getting into digitalization. And I already saw interested people. How can I enroll and stuff like that? Also, these programs can take place digitally. Okay. So whatever programs we are taking, we want to fix the Africans, the Africa that we want. I also talk to the scholars and say, it's time. We've been talking about the curriculum. Now it's really time to implement it. Right? So we have a special channel, which is Pan-African Online Academy. All the professors have to do professional, factual information about who we are, about the Africa we want, knowledge that even the young people can download it and disseminate it in different languages. And so we actually are going to prioritize Ubuntu Swahili as our language or as our main language on Pan-African Daily, so as to promote also the cultural language that we anticipate to have in Africa. So I want to thank you. Please join me tomorrow. Join me tomorrow. I don't know how we're going to do the African spirituality worship, but it's about just being in the presence of the Most High and thanking us for coming this far. The God of our ancestors, the God of creation. We have to kind of come together and surround ourselves with this energy of tough that we're talking about, the spirit of love and unity and solidarity amongst us. We have to keep on watering and thanking and, pouring the energy into it. This is how we break down our thresholds. We all know it. The more love rises, the more negativity goes down. We do know. The more we love in oneness, the more we quench down the fire of hate and division among us. So it is very necessary. We're going to be here tomorrow, and maybe God will send someone to speak to us. I just don't know. Or if not, we're going to speak to us. Okay. So thank you so much, and we see ourselves tomorrow. Should we make it in the afternoon? I'm just only scared because afternoon, my diaspora is still not awake. So we can make it 6 p.m., which will be 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. No, so if I make, yes, 6 p.m. Central European time, that will be 12 p.m. your time. And I think that is good to go. Okay? Or even if we do earlier, but I think 6 p.m. is good. Let's just keep it on that. Good. Did we miss something? Did we miss somebody? Was there an announcement? All right. We all knew we made it today. And we thank the Most High. We thank our ancestors. We thank the spirit of unity of those that are still with us, even though they are not in the physical, that they bless us. And yeah, today's a weekend. If you're going out, make sure you take care. For those of you that are out there, it's afternoon. Here is night. So make sure you celebrate and be careful. And we see us here tomorrow again. Good. So we are gone. And good night to you.
You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.